Can a Nokia 6 replace your iPhone? That video is coming up right now. Let's go. So what is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology. And can a Nokia 6 replace an iPhone? You know, this topic is not something I want to talk about in terms of speed. So we obviously know that you're getting an A9 CPU here. It's a little bit faster, definitely a lot bit faster than the Nokia 6. But when we look at the rest of the hardware around these phones, they start to, diminish in terms of what the iPhone offers. Now, keep in mind, even an iPhone 6s Plus these days, if you buy it new at Apple, you're still looking at like $650, $750. You go online, you're finding it for around $450. So twice as much, sometimes triple as much on the 6s Plus, but this is not a comparison between Nokia 6 and 6s Plus. This is more like, can its Nokia 6 replace an iPhone? So years ago, Android devices were kind of like, you had to get iPhone to have the fastest experience, but now they've kind of caught up with Android 7.1.1 Nougat aboard here of the Nokia 6. This thing actually runs pretty good for being such a cheap device. I mean, this thing is about $200 and it runs very smooth. It has a stock vanilla feel, which is very close for the Google side of things to the Apple's iOS. So this is running a beta, and even on beta, this runs pretty well here. But we got to look at, the hardware differences. So there's not many if you really think about this. So look at it this way. So the iPhone 6s Plus is a phone that's going to run you right around $600, $700, $800, and it does have a 1080p display. Now, if you look at the competition, even back when the 6s Plus was released, Samsung had Quad HD displays, 1080p. Now, on the Nokia 6, it's the same 5.5-inch Full HD panel. Now, some can argue, oh, the color reproduction's a little bit better, slightly brighter on the nits on the iPhone. But that's not to say that this Nokia 6 is bad. I mean, this is one of the best phones I've ever seen for the budget category to read outside. This thing gets really bright and very easy to read in direct sunlight. So keep that in mind when you're looking at a Nokia 6. Also, if two of you or any of you guys were to pick these two up here and you held them in your hand, you would think that they feel about the same. The grade of aluminum on the Nokia 6 is about the same as an iPhone 6s Plus, which is kind of mind-boggling when you think that it's $600 cheaper. Now, a Nokia 6 will give you a 16 megapixel camera. And to make that short, that doesn't mean it is a better camera. Let's go ahead and take a picture here and show you the type of quality you're going to get on this guy. Now, the Nokia 6, I did shoot camera shots, and I will be doing a full camera review on here, but it's not to say that the Nokia 6 is going to give you a better camera than, say, an iPhone 6s Plus. Let me shoot the picture here and let that finish up. Once it's done, let that stop. Oh, I think I have that in panorama. Let me do photos. Let's just do a photo mode. So let's shoot that shot really quickly there and let that load up. And you can see it's not super quick. It's not fast like an iPhone camera, but it's not super slow either. And you could see, I mean, that quality is damn acceptable. I mean, look at that. Do you really need that much more quality for just sharing to Instagram? Now, I understand if you're a creative professional or if you're a businessman and you need all that power to run your business, of course, this is going to pay off in getting an iPhone at these price points. But for everyday users, casual users, do you really need that much extra? So you can see that picture right there. And let's compare those things side by side. So let me go ahead and grab that photo back up here on the Nokia 6. And you could see, look at this. So hold on, something's going wacky on the iPhone 6s Plus. Give me just a second here. Let me get that camera back up. So you can see, in terms of quality, of course, the iPhone 6s Plus looks a little better, more neutral color palette. But I think if you threw either one of these guys up on Instagram and you filtered it out and stuff like that, they're going to look good. So yeah, so looking with that photo, I do think that the Nokia 6 is going to provide good enough pictures. Now, another area that the Nokia 6 is very similar to a lot of the latest iPhones is that it comes with a fingerprint scanner. Now, this scanner, while it's not as circular, it's more of a square scanner over the 6s Plus. This thing is actually about as fast, if not faster, than second-gen Touch ID scanner. So, the iPhone used to have the fastest fingerprint scanner, but Android phones have some pretty quick scanners now as well. So if we go ahead and line this up, you can see I actually opened the 6s Plus first. Let's do this more fair. So let's open this lock screen and watch this. So you can see the Nokia 6 at the same speed basically as second gen Touch ID. And this is not just because iOS 11. I tested this on the iPhone 7 Plus, and a couple of times the Nokia 6 was actually quicker than the 7 Plus on the fingerprint scanner. So there's another good value you get with this Nokia 6. Now, in addition, you get a larger battery in the Nokia 6 than you do on the 6S Plus, or even like the iPhone 7 Plus. You get a 3000 milliamp hour battery, and this can go the distance right with those phones. I mean, this is a really long lasting battery life, and I've really enjoyed it. Now, I know that the Nokia 6, we got to talk a little bit more about performance. It's not the quickest phone in the world. You know, the Moto G5 Plus comes with a 625, but the Moto G5 Plus, in my opinion, doesn't come with the better hardware. I think the Nokia 6 feels like the premium phone in that price point. So keep that in mind as well. So we talked about the camera, we talked about the design and the feel. And what I want to mention here is like, so if you come from an iPhone, for example, and you come to the Nokia 6, you get the Google Assistant, but if you don't do things that are like super heavy, like you're using the camera all the time for recording videos for, you know, a blog, a website, for a YouTube channel, for making short films with your iPhone, doing really intensive things like that, the camera will be good enough here. Now, if you just do texting, calling, email, you do a couple of applications here and there, the Nokia 6 will run all of that stuff with breeze very easily here. And Nokia has been actually updating this phone quite quickly here. So it's just incredible to see the kind of value that phone manufacturers are pushing here in 2017, especially these cheaper phones. And I think that if you're not doing something that is extremely heavy, or you're just not immersed in the iOS ecosystem, you know, mid-range smartphones, or cheaper smartphones for that matter, budget smartphones like the Nokia 6, are really making you question, why should I buy an $800 iPhone when there's phones on the market that look just as good? And this one right here is not 800, but the 7 Plus is. Like I say, I use this for example, but still, you know, why would I buy this phone when I can get this phone, the same stuff basically, for a less, you know, cheaper price? So definitely think about that when you're thinking about buying your next smartphone. Now, for me, for example, I will buy the latest flagship because I just love to have the latest flagship. I like to show you guys it on the channel, review it for people so they know if they want it or not. In addition, it really works out well for me for making YouTube videos as a photographer on my Instagram page and stuff like that. But if I did not do all those things, I would not go with this phone over something like this if my the requirements for my smartphone use weren't that high. And I don't think everybody's are. And that's what I'm trying to get at here. So what are your thoughts on this? Do you think that the iPhone 6S Plus, the 7 Plus, these bigger iPhones that are reaching near $1,000, do they really represent the same value that they used to? I mean, do you think Android is coming up and competing quite well at a lower price point? I think this is not really hurting Apple's sales at all. I mean, they just hit record profits. But I'm just trying to tell you guys that, you know, you could put your money elsewhere. You know, it's really up to you what you do with that. But you could put your money elsewhere. If, like, say you wanted to get an iPhone, you could get a Nokia 6 and you could get all the other equipment that goes with it to, you know, start up a YouTube channel, for example. You would have to start with the 16 megapixel camera. Wouldn't be the best in the world. But you just buy this, you could buy this, a microphone, a tripod, a laptop probably for the same price as one iPhone. So keep that in mind when you are buying a phone. Now, some people are going to be like, I don't care. I don't like Android. iPhone's where it's at. And that's cool too. I'm just sharing one side, one perspective, one coin, one viewpoint of this whole smartphone game right now. And I think that the Nokia 6 has some work to do on its processor. I think that, you know, Nokia can really update that point. If they put a faster processor in there, this is the perfect budget smartphone right here. It's only hurting a little bit there. But I do think that iPhone's value is really not, you know, super, for its price point, it's not offering as much as it used to. People still buy it because of that name, that software, you know, that Apple logo, that design. People love that design. And other people are on iMessage, FaceTime, stuff like that. I understand why people buy iPhones still. But I just want you to know that your options are out there and they're getting better and better by the year. And 2017 was a great year for these mid-rangers. But what are your thoughts on this one? Drop it down below. Thank you for watching this video. This was Nick here helping you to master your technology. Be sure to be well. I will catch you all in the next one, and peace.